There comes a moment in every trader's day when all the preparation, all the vows, all the promises, they collapse into a single breath. The cursor hovers, price is moving, and you feel it. The gravity of the decision, that's execution. Most traders don't realize this, but execution is where your old operating system tries to take its last stand. You can write the cleanest plan, keep the cleanest notes, make the most sacredest of vows, but the battlefield isn't the notebook. It's not even the morning routine. The battlefield is the live edge, the micro moment when you either keep your word or sell it for relief. The sacred contract we explored in the last episode was the vow. Today we talk about what happens when that vow collides with reality. This is what I call the execution covenant, the living expression of your vow in the market. The desperate trader treats execution as a test of worth. Every click is another chance to prove they're not a fraud, another chance to redeem yesterday, another spin of the wheel to silence the fear. That kind of execution isn't execution at all. It's exorcism. It's trying to drive out the feeling by feeding the market your peace. But execution for the sacred trader is devotion. It is the moment where I demonstrate, not to the market but to myself, that my word means something. Execution is not about getting the trade. It's about being the person who doesn't betray their vow when it's inconvenient. This is why I call it a covenant, because execution isn't just a mechanical compliance. It's relational. It's me choosing to honor the bond I made with myself, even when adrenaline tells me to do otherwise. Execution is worship through precision. Every trade begins with an entry, and entries reveal more about identity than most traders realize. When I lived under the old operating system, I chased entries like a beggar chasing scraps. I would force them, I would invent them, I would squint at the chart until I saw a pattern that wasn't there. I wasn't entering because the market had invited me. I was entering because my fear of missing out screamed louder than my vow. But the sacred trader recognizes something profound. Not every movement is an invitation. Most movements are just noise. To enter well is to listen. To wait until the market actually opens the door you said you'd walk through. This is where devotion shows up. Because waiting is painful. The desperate trader thinks waiting means they're weak. The sacred trader knows waiting is proof they're strong. To enter only when invited is to declare, I will not invent opportunities to medicate my impatience. I will only accept what aligns with my vow. That shift alone will save you years of torment. Invited versus invented. That's the litmus test. Let's talk about adding to a position. One of the most dangerous places for traders who haven't rewritten their operating system. In the old operating system, adding to positions are a way of doubling down on desperation. It's pulling against me if I throw more on. Maybe I can force it back. That's not scaling. That's negotiating with fear by making the hole deeper. But scaling in the sacred covenant is sacred only if it is an extension of alignment. Adding to are only permitted when the initial vow has been kept, the context still holds, and the additional risk honors my future self. In practice, that means scaling is rare, because most traders don't need more size. They need more truth. They don't need to amplify the trade. They need to amplify their integrity. When I add, I ask one question. Am I strengthening the vow or am I trying to soothe the fear? If the answer is the second, I walk away. Because the moment I add to ease my discomfort, I've broken the covenant. Sacred scaling is reinforcement. Emotional averaging is betrayal. That is the line. If entries reveal who you are, then exits decide who you become. When I was the desperate trader, I hated endings. I dragged them out, I moved stops, I widened targets. I stayed past my cutoff. Why? Because endings meant facing reality. If I closed, I had to admit the truth of my vow, and that was too painful. So I delayed endings until they became catastrophic. But the sacred trader treats endings as holy. Every exit is an altar where I prove my devotion. If I said I'd take profit here, I'd take it. If I said I'd stop here, I'd stop. And if I said I'd end at 10:30, I'd close the platform, shut my computer down, and walk away. Exits are where the vow either matures or dies, not in theory but in practice. And here's the paradox. Honorable endings don't just protect you, they free you. Because when you close with honor, you start the next session clean. And nothing accelerates growth faster than stacking clean beginnings on top of clean endings. So hear this. The covenant is proven not by how you enter, but by how you leave. Execution isn't hours of battle, it's seconds. Those 5 to 10 seconds when everything in you wants to bend the vow. That's when the covenant either speaks or it stays silent. And in those seconds, the old operating system will whisper. Just move the stop, nobody will know. Enter now, you can rationalize it later. Stay 5 more minutes, you might miss something. And in those seconds, the sacred trader breathes, remembers, and answers with declaration. I am not funding fear with my future. I only enter when I'm invited. I keep time like a vow. You don't need more willpower in those moments. You need more memory. Memory of who you said you are. That's what the covenant is for. It's not a checklist. It's a declaration designed to collapse negotiation. Let me give you 2 snapshots. One from my old operating system and one from the sacred path. The desperate day. I forced an entry outside my plan, convinced myself it looked close enough. It pulled back. I moved the stop. It pulled harder. I added size. It cascaded into a loss so big that I ended my day short-tempered with people who had nothing to do with the chart. That's execution as exorcism. That's the old operating system in command. The sacred day, different conditions, same potential spiral. I missed the initial fill, watched the market move without me. The old voice whispered, catch it, redeem yourself. But I remembered the vow. I don't chase what isn't mine. I stayed still. I ended on time. And I walked into the next room light, not heavy. The difference? Execution as covenant. These are not just trading outcomes. They are identity outcomes. The day doesn't define me, my execution does. This is what I want you to see. Execution isn't just about skill, it's about sacredness. Every entry, every add, every exit is a place where you either worship fear or honor devotion. The covenant gives you the words, the stance, the presence to stop negotiating and start embodying. This isn't about being robotic. It's about being real. Execution is where identity proves itself. And here's the good news. Every time you honor execution, you don't just build discipline. You build trust in yourself. That trust compounds. And when trust compounds, trading stops being torment and starts being truth. In the next episode, we'll expose the old operating system, the hidden software that's been running your trades without your permission. We'll put it on the table side by side with the sacred operating system, so you can see clearly what you've been leaving behind and what you're stepping into. Until then, trade well, live sacred.